Hey folks, it's Brian. I got a new setup because I had to get a new laptop because my old one died, or at least the battery was saying the battery's dying, replace it, but you can't replace batteries anymore. I did run into some issues with the new laptop's built-in microphone because it like collected all kinds of sound from around the room, so it was echoey. Plus the fan blowing was being picked up. It was just a complete mess. So put these back on. Oh, okay. So we got to play RQG tonight. Yay! Yeah, notice the map. um, so, um, we did a minor retcon because trying to resist a spider potency of 40 is completely unreasonable. Not something that I would put because you can't survive that. Even if you make your saving throws, that's 20 points of poison damage. No human being can sustain that, right? And it had to do with using the giant spider with the spider head rune spell, right? And if I was quicker on the take, I would have just said, okay, small spider's constitution, not giant spider, not large giant spider's constitution, right? So that was minor retcon. That okay, we've got these spider spirits with physical forms, just like we had the large carnivorous mammals with physical form, spirits with physical forms. That ties in with the whole spider and large carnivorous mammal spirits previously possessing other creatures and people, right? So that's kind of the theme going on. Now that we're near the end, we actually have these spirits that can manifest themselves, have physical forms. Okay, the only spider spirit that has a physical form will be the small ones. That's what I decided. So there are still large ones out there that are possessed by spirits, but that's a little different because this spider just appeared, right, to ambush them. A regular spider has to still come around. So we did a little minor retcon. The bite also did less damage. So while the poison did kill Miriam, the fetch did a heal 3 on the bite and a heal 3 on the poison, which brought her to positive hit points. So she has 4 total hit points at the time that this session started, essentially. And so it was decided maybe we need to get somebody with some poison antidote potency kind of stuff, to deal with this new situation. And we also have a new player who's from, I believe, Quebec, who joined us tonight as well. And so he's playing an Ernaldan healer, coming from the Greenstone Temple. So they went back to Greenstone Temple, did some stuff there, discussion on, hey, have you stopped in that kind of thing? Well, no, we've had this problem. And so, okay, let's bring this sister out, and she can go with you and can help with that kind of stuff because she's got treat poison at 61% kind of thing, right? So that's how we brought the new player in. They go back out. They send the owl to just look. No baboons out. They get there, about nightfall. So they make camp, not in the same spot, but more northwestish. So it's westish of the ruins. But still, click into the woods kind of thing. And they actually have a random encounter that night. A troll warband. Made a reaction roll, and they're friendly, so they come up, hail the fire, and it's kind of funny because the two guards, the two players or two characters that were on guard at that time, and it's before dawn but getting close to dawn. Hail the wind. Let me. We're the darkness, not the wind. That kind of thing. And they keep coming closer and closer. Eventually, they start discussion. Hey, have you had any dealings with the upland marsh? Because they're actually here hunting chaos creatures, right? And that's their interest. And there's some discussion come out. They start waking up some of the other players, and there's some more discussion going on that dealt with the giant serpent spirit that they encountered in Upland Marsh and in Marsh Edge, in that area and that kind of stuff. So they dived in on that. Tell us more about her. What kind of powers she have, that kind of thing. Oh, she's raising dead. Okay, good to go. We want to take this thing down. Where was she? At Marsh Edge. Okay, tell us more about that. But then it's getting closer to dawn, so they say, okay, thank you very much. We are going to go find a place for us to camp for the day. And they took off. Um, it's kind of interesting that one of our players, Juchi, is a Grazelander, and Ivana, Ivana, I think it's something like that. Ivana is the new player, and she has the hate passion of Grazelanders. So there's some little interpersonal conflict going on in the party. It was kind of fun to play off of a couple of times there, just in discussion in general. She does not go into detail about it. She just kind of gives the guy a stink eye and brusque answers, kind of thing. Um, so that kind of thing is going on. It's kind of cool. So next morning, have breakfast. They go out to the ruin. They check the ruins again. No baboons around. They go back down in. They go through they're backtracking the way they went to get to the stairs they found the first time. And about halfway through, they run into a large giant spider. And yes, it is possessed by a spider spirit. But, it's a physical form right there. It doesn't just kind of appear. So they had a chance to not interact, but to prepare. And it was across a fairly large room. So they did. Juchi's out front. He's got his well, he doesn't have bow. He's got his shield up, or sword out. But since it's a long distance, he's going to pull his bow out and fire at it. It, runs up one of the pillars, screams across the top, and is getting ready to attack him. While it's coming across, Ivana, casts slow on it, which does slow it down some, but not enough that it can't get there and still attack. But it's now got +1 on its strike ranks for things, so it delays things. So on strike rank 12, it bites at Juchi, but it fumbled. And as we mentioned in live play, by the way, live play is in the description. I use a lot of RQ3 additional materials, right? So the natural weapons fumble table I use, and it fell. It twisted wrong and fell, and people did it land on its head? Well, no, it's a spider. It landed upright. It just loses, its dodge and parry for that round, kind of thing. I did give Juchi what we call last shot missile fire. So if you got a missile weapon out, and somebody comes by and you get that last shot off, right? But he missed. He must have missed. I don't remember rolling to hit. I don't remember rolling to hit, but he didn't do any damage to it. Oh, that's right. It dodged. That's right. It dodged. It made a dodge roll. Spells going off. People prepping up. Miriam does a multi-spell. Dual disruptions. The first disruption was not successful, so she only got one off. But actually, the multi-spell lasts for 15 minutes, so she can continue to do double disruptions for the rest of the combat, but it only lasts one more round anyway. And David's in the middle trying to cast Hinder, and Jarstakos is in the back watching what's going on, cast protection on himself, and gets ready to do some disruptions out front. But Arestra, I believe, hit it and did some damage. No, there were two disruptions. Two disruptions came across and did damage to its abdomen. And so it got hurt. Its abdomen was down by half. So, okay, it's going to cast spider limbs on itself, so it doubles its movement, and it's getting out of here. The casting of the spider limbs failed, though. And when it went to flee, it didn't dodge for a whole round. It just fled. Both Arestra and Juchi got to get free attacks on it. Arestra did a bunch of damage to one leg, essentially taking it out. And Juchi hit it in the same leg, which means all the damage went to total hit points in the body, right? And that was enough to take it down. So it dies. Flops over. And the possessing spirit... Oh, and they did... Miriam did look at it with second sight and saw that it was possessed. And so, the spirit, once the body died, it left. Then there's some discussion about, okay, so if the spirit's leaving, then it's in the spirit world, and the fetch is already there. The fetch can engage it in spirit combat, and if it beats it, it can, not contain, it can bind it to its own power, right? There was a real quick discussion about it can only hold as much power as many spirits worth of power as it has power. So if its power is less than the spirit's power, it can't bind it, right? It can only bind up to its power worth of power in spirits. So yeah, you can get a handful of 1d6 spirits, right? But only one 3d6 spirit if it's less than that kind of thing. So, but this spirit had more power than the fetch, so they couldn't do that binding thing. But that really did come out at first because let's engage in spirit combat. But this thing's taken off. It's got a power of 12, so it's moving at a speed of 12, and the fetch has only got a power of 11, so it's only moving 11. So it's slowly getting away. Such is life. Okay. And at that point, we started a little late. Plus, we had some issues getting Jarrett, my new player, on. But eventually, we got it all hooked up, and all the technology was working. Not too bad. So they go through the rest of the area. They went to the stairs. It goes up a little bit, then goes down, down, down. And so it comes down, and then there's a hallway off to one side, and the hallway back around where the stairs came from. And I rolled a random encounter there, and it turned out to be an actual spider spirit, the ones that have a physical form, right? But it's a pretty powerful one, so it can sense the fetch from further away than the fetch can sense it, right? So it senses the fetch coming, so it starts moving away. And it's keep an eye on the fetch, and once the fetch kind of settles down, it means the party's doing something. It's going to manifest up, and it's going to come along and get towards the party that way. But they get to that room, they do a search, there's a secret door there. They found the secret door, so they go, okay, what's behind it? But at this point, we're hitting midnight, but people didn't want to leave. Okay, found the secret door, we'll find it. No, what's behind now? But I haven't mapped out that far. So, quickly pull my sheets up, start looking through, make it right. Okay, it's just 10 foot by 10 foot room, and it's empty. Okay. And so that's that's the end of the session on a downer. Not necessarily fun, but I've got a plan for the spider spirits where I need to find out where it popped up because it's got to be more than 110 meters away from this room where the party is, and then how long is it going to take to actually get there because it's not a straight line. Well, the distance is a straight line, that physical distance on the material plane isn't, right? So I got to figure that out. Plus, there's some more stuff here I need to do with my map. But we are getting close. I need them to get, I guess, down to the 4th level, and that's where I go off of. I'm not mapping anymore. This is where we get into some cavern stuff, and then the new thing shows up. And that's the final scene of this scenario and this campaign, which is going to end up in a hero quest. We'll see how well that runs. Happy gaming.